Hello, Cancer. Great to see you. Please come on in. Make yourself comfortable. Oh, look, I've got some sad news. I've just come back from a hospice where the family of a woman that I know asked me to come in and provide her with some comfort just before she crosses over to the other side. And sadly, on the way back home, she did actually cross over. So my thoughts are with her and her family, and who knows, maybe her spirit is with us now for you in this reading. I hope so, because I want to make sure that I stay in touch with her. Now, I'm going to use a deck painted by an artist in San Francisco, a lady by the name of Eden Gallanter. She calls the deck the Cheminée deck. And I've had very good results from the deck. I respond particularly well to the artwork, and so I'm going to use it for you now and see what there is in store for you for this month of December. I now use the hands of the Enterer, which is a shamanistic practice to bring about and infuse spirit, which it's done. So let's see what these cards have in store for you. I know it's a very busy time of year, isn't it? December, Christmas coming up for many people, Hanukkah, and a couple of very important Hindu festivals as well. Hi to everybody in India. Hope you're well. Let's see what there is in store. Here we go. Is this sticking out? I think it is, isn't it? Whatever it happens to be. That's the Two of Swords. Come on, come on, come on. Don't keep my friend waiting. This is coming out. That is the Prince of Cups. Extraordinary. The Prince of Cups. There is the Three of Discs. I've got a very good feeling about this for you, so I hope you're going well. This has come out, I think. Let's see what it is. There's the Tower. Now, a lot of people are afraid of the Tower, but you shouldn't be, because it usually has a very good message associated with it, but it remains to be seen, because it depends what the interaction is with the other cards and with the energies that are coming up. I certainly don't want to try and prejudge anything. And there is the Six of Cups. Well, why don't you, as usual, come and sit down next to me. Let's have a look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. All right, now here we go. I told you these images were quite interesting, didn't I? I'm going to focus in closer for you so you can see the colors and the artistic workings that go into this card. Now, this is the Two of Swords. I think this is going to be a good month for you, by the way. Now, let me have a look at this Two of Swords. This is peace. Peace restored, even though it's sitting on top of this Tower card, which we'll have something to say of in a moment. But this is the crown of that Tower. And this is peace restored. It is the moon, your planet, ruling the first decan of Libra. You know, in that period, the 23rd of September to about the 2nd of October. This is a really happy combination because your moon sign describes your instinctive or emotional energies. Peace restored. Do you know, vulnerability is the birthplace of love. Vulnerability is the birthplace of love. Belonging, also joy, courage, empathy, and creativity as well. Vulnerability is the source of hope, empathy, accountability, and authenticity. If you want greater clarity in your purpose, or deeper and more meaningful spiritual lives, then vulnerability is the key to that process. Now here we have, well, a person, and this sword, I'd say, I'm looking at maybe a Prince of Swords. One of them is holding two swords, the other's holding nothing. Really, it's the same person. It's two sides of the same person. One can destroy, whereas one can make whole, bring comfort, bring joy and nurture. I had this affirmation in mind during this period that deep peace fills my heart. Now, you might be having a hard time making up your mind about something and can't make a choice. Now, I don't think it's very acute, but it's sitting in the background and surfaces every now and again. You might be dealing with the pros and cons of a situation, I think. And I think although it's peace, there may be some feeling of passivity around you during this period. Look, I think it's the case that in relation to making up your mind about something, you might actually lack the information that you require, the information you need to make the right decision at this time. But when you get it, it's like the light goes off and you can see the situation for what it is, and you'll be in a much better position to make the decision that is right for you. Yep, I think that's what it is. I think that with this Two of Swords here, the decisions that you make should be geared for bringing about peace and harmony that are in your life. Now, I said that this was sitting on top of this card here, which is the Tower card. Now, sometimes the Tower card can be... First of all, I'm going to show you where it's sitting in relation to the other cups. Sometimes people can be concerned about this Tower card. You've got this beautiful energy of the Two of Swords sitting up there. You've got this tremendous energy of the Three of Discs, which I'm getting through to a moment. And there is, on this same line, this Six of Cups, which is bringing great degree of love. So this is being hemmed in around all sides, if you like, and thus is being weakened. But it does have a message to say to you. There's a real message that's coming to say to you here. Now, here we have a depiction of the Tower that, quite frankly, the artist has drawn one that I've not seen before, but I kind of like it, you know. I mean, it's sort of in the form of a tree, isn't it? And what I see here is I see that there is well, for me, this is Mars in full attack mode coming in to break down this tree. Here, though, we have in the top right-hand corner what is really really like a lunar figure. And this is suggesting to me that there's a great degree of subconscious energy coming in here. And it's also because it's the moon, it's important for you this month. This is Mars in full attack mode coming about to destroy it. Now, for me, the Tower is really significant. It refers to the limitations of your ego, that part of your consciousness which is trapped in form, if I can put it that way, trapped in this feeling of your body, the structure of identity. You know, all those memories that you have, all those memories of people you've spoken to, of things that you've done, of things that you've said, events that have occurred, they sit to come together today to give you a feeling of identity as to who you are. But that's not really who you are. This is only just part of the story. And I think what this card is saying is the energy is coming through now to say that this totality of who you are, which is far greater than the smaller instance of who you think you are, is something that's going to be coming through to the fore. I think that this is really almost like the eye of Shiva coming forward in a way to kind of, destroy so that things can be rebuilt. I see this as a restorer, a healer, a renovator. I think that you may well possess strong recuperative or healing ability during this period, gifts and unusual capacity for regeneration and restoration, gifts in the area of your health. And that includes your mental, emotional health as well as your physical.
There'll be a deep need, I think, to constantly eliminate what is unnatural, false to fact, and not of your true self. I think you'll be good with the structures of ideas, buildings, design, decoration, understanding personality traits or projects, and good analytical ability, which will enable you to get to, I think, the heart of the matter. I think that this can also sometimes refer to a period of some feelings of turmoil or inner destruction as you seek to understand how you could have been so mistaken about a situation or a person which you have now got to come to terms with. Emotions like anger, grief, or depression, sleeping problems can affect you as your sense of security may have been. You feel lost or badly shaken, and you may feel as if your comfortable world will never be the same again, but it will. Now, this can sometimes come about because of fights that you have in relationships, relationship problems. Sometimes you can blow things out of proportion. Sometimes it can come about from job loss or death of loved ones, which is always tremendously difficult to occur. But I'm thinking what's coming here is that there is a major internal change. It's almost as if the divine spirit is moving through your psyche and burning out anything that is fake. I would have these thoughts in mind. What I think I am is a belief to be undone. I have the ability to heal and restore myself at all times. I am not inside my body. My body is inside me. There is something else this energy is saying to you for this month, and it is this. There is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such a wondrous magnificence? But you don't know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. All you see in the world is your idea about it. Life will take off for you when you choose for it to. An idea becomes a thought becomes a word. Say it out loud. Words have power and reverberate all throughout eternity. A word becomes an action. And if you are going to do it, then start. And when you start, go all the way. Do it. Do it. Do it. Seize it. Rejoice in it. And let no power on earth take it from you. Let's have a look to see what this central energy is, shall we? This 3 of discs. Well, I have to say, I love the number 3 from a numerological point of view. The 3 of discs, the 3 is about gestation for me. It's about almost like the growing inside the female womb of a baby. It's about creation. It's about extension. It's about development. And this 3 of discs is something which is talking about just those sorts of things. I really refer to this card as the Lord of Material Work. Now the art is saying to me, here is a sun balanced by that of the moon. Here is a figure which is an eye that's looking upon you. And inside this sphere are a number of figures, well, really depicting the variety of life. And it sits above an orb against a background there, which actually is reminiscent to me, these colors esoterically, of Jupiter, which is about good fortune and good luck. Now, this Lord of material work for you is Mars in the second decan of Capricorn, at 3rd to the 12th of January. Now, Mars is about energy, assertion, and vitality. Capricorn, about ambition, practicality, and making things tangible. Now, in ordinary astrology, Mars is also exalted in Capricorn, so this is very constructive. And really, the position of Mars here is, in the esoteric way that I'm looking at it, actually it's really far more constructive form in Capricorn rather than its often very destructive self. Now, Capricorn's materialism benefits from the energy and activity of Mars, so this card signifies for you the energy coming through here is signifying to you that investing time and effort in work, however broadly you may want to consider that term, will turn out favorably. I see here possibility of changing jobs, adding extra responsibilities to a career, certainly having a great deal of satisfaction in your work and doing a good job. Continued progression, productivity, a great degree of teamwork, I think, is also coming in here. So you'll be relying on others and others will be relying upon you, and you'll be consulting with others and getting outside help. The 3 in Hinduism symbolizes balance and harmony, and this is very much the case. This energy for you is balanced and harmonious, and this is notwithstanding, as I say, some of these lingering, although with this moon here I say subconscious thoughts that are coming through with you in this month. This is far more above the conscious, above the subconscious. It's happening in your material world. This is in below it, so beware of that. But those words that came through, whatever they were, I think had a positive message in relation to that subconscious effort here. I think we'll see reward for hard work and dedication for you. Your skills and knowledge will move you forward. Good outcomes for career, business projects, and practical matters in general. And again, I said that number 3 in Hinduism is about balance, and these things here really are in balance, and I think that you need to follow things which are fulfilling for your body, your mind, and your heart. You'll have a great ability to stick with things and overcome obstacles. So set sail now, hoist the sails, pull up the spinnaker, let the air fill with it because the wind is behind you and pushing you forward. I would have this thought in mind because it's definitely true for you that I am now ready to give and receive everything. Let's have a look at the Prince of Cups. Now, the Prince of Cups may well be somebody that's in your life, Let's have a look at this Prince. Well, Prince of Cups, young man, I'll call you. I think we could call you a young man, definitely by your appearance. And I must say, you look really you look dissatisfied. You look entitled. You look self-entitled, don't you? You actually look as if you need a good smack across the face, I have to say. No disrespect to the artist. This is a child that looks petulant and immature. What can we say about the Prince of Cups? The princes esoterically relate to air, and cups, of course, is in the suit of water. And there is, in elemental dignity rules, they are what I'd say, he's the airy part of water, and water and air strengthen each other, but are neutral. So in the elemental dignity rules, there are no elemental contradictions in his makeup. Now, who might he be? Now, it could be a she as well. Court cards, of course, are cross-gender. I think that this could well be a Scorpio or a Libra. I'm getting a lot of Scorpio energy coming out of this. I'm getting a lot of Libra energy coming out of this. I think that with these elements, with him, the elements combining with Scorpio, the air with Scorpio, tend to make him something of a really rather intense character. As fast as a river flows, so does he, trying to get the most out of life possible. Now, princes are found usually associated for me in the middle of the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is about harmony and balance. And they center between, well, severity and generosity as a rule. But I think he cares intensely for power, information, and his own aims. He looks after himself, and other people come second. I think what we have here is that he's a man, probably, somebody probably around about your age or a little bit younger. As I say, it could be a woman as well. But a person of subtlety, of secret violence, craft. Somebody who appears calm on the surface, but this masks a much more intense passion. I call him the Prince of the Chariot of Waters. He is completely without conscience in the ordinary sense of the word. He is perfectly ruthless. He cares intensely for power, information, and his own aims. He feels no responsibility for others, and look, he can't be relied upon. He just can't be relied upon. So don't rely upon him. I think he could say that he does have a lot to offer, though. He has a immense ability and intensity, though, which can make him volatile. His main responsibility, as I say, is to himself, and he can be secretive, hiding his deepest desires. I'm getting very much arts, music, software programming, entertainment, fashion, beauty, hair, makeup, all this sort of stuff around this sort of thing. He's very good at sharing insight into other people's lives. That's because the prince has usually done everything himself. You know, you've been there and done that. You can tell people what to look out for. At worst, though, he can be cruel, selfish, and reckless. What does he have to say for you now? It is this. I think this represents a period of rest and healing that is necessary, usually after a period of some sort of a trauma or discovery, really, that sort of come through in your life. And it allows you to mend before you go out into a more productive phase. But if you don't use the time wisely, you can repeat the cycle. And of course, with this Prince of Cups, it comes about when he becomes exhausted from periods of passion, usually sexual passion, and loss. This is presented by taking risks, by taking a lot of risks, because when you take a risk, there is often a downside to it as well. I get the feeling with him, and it's possible that, so you should be using this time for rest and recuperation. I think this is coming about with him. I get the feeling with him that he's saying that perhaps in some respect your expectations have been unfulfilled, which has left something of a feeling of sadness or disappointment. So we need to see, really, if you're going to set realistic goals, and you need to be careful not to shut yourself away and stop trying to move forward after what may have been, something of a troubling episode or a perturbing episode. I think, or where your confidence has taken a blow, or where someone's worked on your self-esteem. There are a lot of negative people out there who are actually very good at putting people down, and in the most passive-aggressive way. Rather than actually just punching them on the nose, it's very passive-aggressive. And for the prince, when you live life on the edge, you can experience loss, which is inevitable. But it's interesting, because I've got this card coming up finally for you. And here, it's that he really does also talk about the real potential for balance and harmony. There's an intensity. I'm actually looking at this cups here, and I'll get to this. He's adding an intensity to this card, which I'll get to. You remember how he's sitting above it. Well, he's adding an intensity to this, which we'll get to in a second, which resonates with this Scorpio energy, which I think is in here. And it adds an emotional depth to relationships, giving it a real, or sexual relationships in particular, whether coupled or outside of it, which gives it a great degree of intensity. But it doesn't just mean sexual fulfillment, but getting the most out of life, and living life to the fullest, and using this energy of Scorpio, I feel, in this card to give you the intensity and the passion to live life. I think also what he's saying to you is that there is, I think, in you, isn't there? There is a song in your heart that resonates with you. Well, live it, sing it, and just follow that song which is in your heart. Be careful about him, though, otherwise, because this type of person at worst can be cruel, selfish, and reckless. Now, let's see what we have to say about this card here, the Six of Cups, which I love. What do we have? Well, I'm looking here at the Six of Cups, but I don't actually see 6 cups. Do you see 6? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll have to forgive me, because I think I might have mentioned I only just acquired it from the artist. I personally, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 6 of Cups. I personally would count these two people themselves as being the 6th cup. And why I like to do that is because 6, as a number, is one which is particularly beautiful. It is particularly balanced and harmonious. It is, in my mystical opinion, associated with the sun, and it might also be associated, I would say, metaphorically, with Krishna consciousness or Christ consciousness. There is a great degree of love and balance around it. And in the figures that we see of these two people here, I think we can see that. Unless I've missed a 6 cup somewhere else, that's how I'm going to be treating this card. Now, this card is for me the Lord of Pleasure, and it is the sun ruling, for me, the 2nd decan of Scorpio. You know that 3rd to the 12th of November? Now, Scorpio, more Scorpio energy. We had that up here, didn't we? Let's pull these cards out so we can have a better look, shall we? More Scorpio energy coming in here. So there's a lot of, well, Scorpio rules. You look on YouTube and you'll see the astrologers go out there and they'll do a horoscope wheel. And they'll usually have the 8th house sitting up here somewhere, and that will be Scorpio. Well, the 8th house is what rules transformation, and it rules sex, your sexuality. And so I have the sun in Scorpio, but I also have the sun in the number 6. So you have a double dose of the sun, and the double sun reveals what Scorpio wants to hide. Now, I think the feelings that I'm getting through this are, well, pleasure, indulgence. Well, it's quite an indulgent type of the year, I suppose, isn't it? Sexual pleasure, excitement. Communication with ancestors is something that's coming through. A lot of family support and family relationships and activity here. Pleasure. The pleasure here is a kind of pleasure, though, which is, I think, completely harmonized. The zodiacal sign governing the card for me being Scorpio. Well, you know, pleasure here, this card here is really, it's really rooted in its most convenient soil, being in Scorpio. This is a preeminently fertile card, and for me really is one of the best in the deck. Look, there's no getting around it. The emphasis on this card is sexuality. Now, that doesn't mean to say that it needs to necessarily be consummated sexuality with somebody else. It can also relate to a lot of sexual fantasy, so fantasizing, or thoughts of sexual activity, sexual situations, sexual activity. I think there's also the case here that this pleasure, this interest that you have is being experienced after something which could well be some difficulty or hardship that you've experienced in the past. I think maybe there is a period here also where you'll be undergoing healing, a period of healing. There's a sort of a brass look to these cards to me, and that color resonates with me mystically with the planet of Venus, as does this green with the planet of Venus, which among other things is about healing and restoration. Now, the emphasis here is on relationship, or on the desire to have a relationship, but one that will improve both of the individuals concerned, where the whole is really greater than the sum of the parts. I think that's really it for you this month.
There we go. December. Your December reading. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. Now, don't forget, make sure you check out your 2020 yearly reading. Just search for me, Nigel 2020, in your sign, and you'll get it. I thought you were fantastic during that reading. You were outstanding, and you played your part to perfection. And really, all that remains for me to say is this: that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Until then, bye for now.